hello to all of the women and maybe men on the internet. I'm back on the YouTube Film and Grind because I thought it would be fun to take a guided CD tour. Now, why is it guided? Because I have about 160 CDs, and I've attempted filming this once, and I showed off probably 15 CDs, and it was a half-hour long video. But my head was like this the whole time, like at the top of the frame, and I didn't like it, so I'm refilming it. And I've gotten some new CDs since then, so you get to see even more. So I've categorized them. As I often do, my collection is alphabetized. So we're going to start with some local stuff. For example, this is Monster A Go-Go. From my understanding, this is one guy. My friend got this for free, just was given it on the street, and gave it to me because I thought it seemed interesting. It is a guy just trying to be the Misfits. He's got the devil lock and everything. I've listened to this. It sounds like one guy trying to be the Misfits. And I'm not even that into the Misfits in the first place. If we're gonna go, like, early punk, horror punk. The Damned aren't really horror punk, but they're still where it's at. Come on. Then there's Dark Waters Piedmont. Dark Waters are a local, like, post-hardcore, I think, band. This EP was free at Vinyl Conflict one of the times I went. And it sounds a lot like Title Fight. And I like Title Fight, so I think this is pretty good. And then I have my Destructo Disc stuff, because they are probably my favorite local band, which is a really basic pick, but they're the pick for a reason. Destructo Disc are an amazing band. So I got the Bad Gravity 2022 tour CD with the bonus tracks, Sunset Downhill, Monumental Multiplex, and their cover of Little Man with a Gun in His Hand. So it's very cool. I really like Sunset Downhill, so that was big for me. Then Kelly Green Hardcore also has bonus tracks. It's got a couple collaboration songs with Over Underdog that are kind of more electronic and weird. They've got Sucker for Pinball and the Car Theft Two-Step. And then the reprise of my favorite song on the album and the single for it, Me, You, Wagyu, which is just Gideon, this one, with a drum machine and an acoustic guitar recording it onto tape, which was big for me when I heard it, because that's something I've been really wanting to try out with my music. And I don't own anything that can record onto tape, so unfortunately it hasn't come to pass yet. But at some point, it will, and it'll be cool. So, then we get into single CDs and EPs, which are just something I find very fascinating. I really like when a band puts out a little EP to promote a single, so they'll have some B-sides and some remixes and stuff. I always think that's really fun, and a lot of the time some of their best songs end up getting hidden within these little capsules, So I found this, I think, also at Vinyl Conflict, and it's a radio promotional CD of The Cure's single Cut Here, which is definitely The Cure past their prime. It was a song recorded specifically for their Greatest Hits album. It's like a new song, and I think it's good. I think it's a fun song. It's a little bit more electronic. You can tell they were like fucking around a little bit with some like Y2K stuff. And I think it was fun. And I would have been interested to see like a whole Cure album more in this direction. I've got the Love Song EP as well, which I also have on vinyl, despite being much more of a CD fan than a vinyl fan, because Love Song is great, but really I'm buying it for the B-sides, Too Late and Fear of Ghosts. Fear of Ghosts is my favorite Cure song ever. It's very long, it's very atmospheric, and I'm obsessed with ghosts, so it's just a beautiful song that I really enjoy listening to, and I really enjoy having multiple physical copies of. So this is getting more into the EP kind of category, but let's dive like fully into that, because I also have the 9 Inch Nails March of the Pigs EP, which has March of the Pigs and then some of the remixes that would appear on Further Down the Spiral on it. So they've got Reptilian, All the Pigs All Lined Up, and then a couple instrumental, I believe, if I remember correctly, tracks, A Violent Fluid and Underneath the Skin. And if you open it up and actually look at the CD, they've got how long the songs are as well as the BPM. So they were considering remixes when they made this CD, clearly, which I think is really fucking cool. They were watching out for the DJs. They were watching out for the people who wanted to fuck with it. And I think that's super cool, and I think more artists should do that. And of course, Trent Reznor would be one of the people to do that. I also have the extremely underrated Helium Superball Plus EP. I discovered the band Helium from this indie lesbian film from, I believe, 1997 called All Over Me. And it's an intense movie. A lot of it is very sad. But there's a scene in which one of the main characters meets who becomes her love interest, and she is in a fictional band called Coochie Pop. And Mary Timony, the singer of Helium, is the singer of that band. And Lucy, the love interest, is the guitarist. And they are playing the Helium song Hole in the Ground, which is this weird, noisy, kind of dissonant indie pop rock song. It's very 90s. There's a lot of like sparseness to it, where the drums are just kind of pounding away, and then you've got this very consistent bass line only playing like 2 notes, and then the guitar is doing these sorts of bends and just then letting all the strings go. And it changed something in me when I heard it. Like, new possibilities unlocked, because then there's like these beautiful harmonies in the chorus, and the bass starts playing these really cool counter melodies. And that song is not on this EP. However, Superball, What Institution Are You From, and I Am a Witch are all highlights in my opinion, as well as, honestly, all of this is really interesting. Superball is a super catchy song. Helium were super underrated. And if you like Slater-Kinney or fucking anything in that sort of sphere, you need to check out Helium. They are so underrated. And they have a compilation album, which I forget the name of, but it has a song called XXX and a song called OOO, and that's also what they have Hole in the Ground on. And you should listen to that album, because it's fucking killer. I also have the Street Spirit Fade Out EP by Radiohead. I mostly bought this because it has the song Talk Show Host on it, which is, one of the Radiohead deep cuts. It was featured in the film Romeo plus Juliet, if I remember correctly. I'm sure every time I say if I remember correctly, if I remember wrong, I'll be editing in that I'm wrong and the correction. But yeah, this is a great EP. I think this is some like peak Radiohead. You know, a lot of it is a little more jazzy, but still solidly like in the like Ben's OK Computer pre-Kid A sort of era where they were like starting to reach more of a Kid A point. You know, you can see the roots, but it still got that just 90s alt rock indie sort of beautiful fucking sound to it. And then on almost the opposite side of the musical spectrum, you have the Refused New Noise Theology EP, which it feels like almost has two covers. And it obviously has the song New Noise, as well as some songs that were not on their album Blind Date and Poetry Written in Gasoline, which are both great. And then a remix of Refused Are Fucking Dead. And this remix is awesome. The original song is also awesome. Refused are awesome. The Shape of Punk to Come is one of the greatest hardcore or post-hardcore albums of all time. And this EP, it has the fucking sauce. And then this one is especially interesting to me because it is not an EP. This is an album. It is a collection of 3 EPs, all by the band Curve, who started out as a pseudo-industrial, but like pop industrial sort of band. A lot of people... There was a controversy in the scene when Garbage came around because Curve kind of were doing Garbage before Garbage came around. They had a very similar sound, so, you know, I think it was probably similar influences rather than a direct ripoff, but I don't know. I wasn't there. And they sort of transitioned into a shoegaze band more over time. And I honestly still have not listened to this. I don't even know when exactly in their career this falls. So I'm very excited to listen to this and hear the ratio of industrial to shoegaze on this. But I'd highly recommend that anyone check out the song Nowhere by Curve. It's on the soundtrack for the movie Nowhere by Greg Araki. And it's my favorite Curve song, and honestly, probably one of my favorite songs ever. It's stellar. And now that transitions us perfectly to talking about soundtracks. An ex gave me this. Nowhere, the Greg Araki film, is one of my favorite movies of all time. I got the Teenage Apocalypse trilogy, Criterion Collection release. I have this in 4K. I'll wait for applause. This soundtrack is fucking crazy, which fits because the movie is fucking crazy. As I already mentioned, it has the song Nowhere on it by Curve, but it also has Freak Out by 311, How Can You Be Sure by Radiohead. It's got Elastica. It's got some early Hole. It's got the Chemical Brothers, Massive Attack. It's got Lush, who are a great shoegaze band. It's got a Chuck D song, like from his solo career. It's got the only Marilyn Manson song I like, and I do not care to listen to any more of his discography to find out if there are any more. There is a remix of his song Kitty Grinder on this, and it's heat. and this is a used CD that is a soundtrack for a movie. So I am not financially supporting Marilyn Manson when I listen to it. And I do not encourage you to, but I do encourage you to find a copy of this soundtrack and fucking blast it in your car during the summer, because this is such a good summer driving album. I love this CD. I also have the Twin Peaks soundtrack. There's nothing to even say. It's the Twin Peaks soundtrack. I just completed a rewatch of the first 2 seasons and Fire Walk with Me. The music is beautiful. I personally honestly prefer the Fire Walk with Me soundtrack to the Twin Peaks soundtrack, but I'm not even sure if there are CDs for the soundtrack of Fire Walk with Me, and I found this at either Plan 9 Records or Vinyl Conflict. I don't remember which, but this is the second time I found it. And it's just wonderful. It's beautiful music. Angelo Badalamenti is goated. And my last soundtrack that I have is the Repo Man soundtrack. This is like a low-budget 80s punk movie that was actually, like, I think executive produced, or, like, somehow Mike Nesmith from the Monkees was involved in this, because after the Monkees, in the 80s, he got really into the punk scene, apparently, which is cool. It's been years since I've seen this movie, when my dad showed it to me, but I have this soundtrack on both CD and cassette, thanks to his old collection. It's got some fucking hits on it. It's got the theme for the movie, Repo Man, which is a song done by Iggy Pop, as well as TV Party by Black Flag, Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies, Coup d'etat by Circle Jerks, When Shit Hits the Fan by Circle Jerks, several songs by a band called The Plugs, who I'm honestly not familiar with outside of this soundtrack, Pablo Picasso by Burning Sensations, and Let's Have a War by Fear. That song I'm also familiar with from the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. And a lot of these songs are just nostalgic to me because these are songs I listened to with my dad. Like, when I think of the Burning Sensations song, like, that's just a song I hear in the car with my dad, and that's the only time I ever hear it, and it's fun. It's a good song. Although I do believe it has the lyric, "Nobody ever called Pablo Picasso an asshole," which is a lie. I'll do it right now. Pablo Picasso was a fucking asshole. And now, we're into the largest... Actually, it's equal to the amount of EPs and singles, but that doesn't matter. We're on to the most sprawling, I should say, category, which is miscellaneous CDs that I just wanted to talk about because I like them or I have stories behind them. The first of which I almost put in local, despite them being a Boston band, Wheelie by Milk Money. I am fortunate enough to be both Tumblr and Instagram mutuals with Denise, the bassist and singer and songwriter of this band. This is original slowcore from the 90s. So this is before slowcore was like Duster and Viva Melancholia and stuff. This is when slowcore basically sounded like grunge played at half speed. And this is an incredible album. It's not on streaming, but I cannot beg you enough to go onto YouTube or go onto Discogs like I did and find a physical copy and listen to this fucking CD. It's so good. The song Leash is great. It was like the single from the album. It's really catchy. I recorded a cover of it once. which probably will never see the light of day again because I couldn't sing yet, but goes to show like how much I care about this album. I think it's great. Can't sing the praises enough. And not many of the albums I've gone through yet have had particularly cool booklets, in my opinion, but this one really does. It's got like this really beautiful, like all one color, like almost a risograph sort of look to it. There's not a lot of lyrics. It'll just be like one lyric from the song. You know, like, it happened again today, with like a picture to go with it. And I think that's a really, really cool way to go about doing a booklet. You know, it's just very pretty, and it's such a good album. I also have PJ Harvey's 4-track demos CD. I just bought this yesterday. Artists will put out like demos for their albums that they've already released. Like, once they're on a label, you know, they'll put out demos sometimes. But nowadays, that's usually done in the form of, like, just a release on streaming or Bandcamp or something. You know, like, what would come to mind for me is, like, Ezra Furman releasing all of the demos for Transangelic Exodus as a Bandcamp exclusive. Or, in a way, Car Seat Headrest releasing pieces of paper with the words "no" written on it. That's more rejected tracks rather than demos, but it's a similar sort of vibe. But I think it's really cool that this is from back in the 90s, when to do that sort of thing, you would have to do a physical release of it. And it makes it feel like a full album still. And this feels like a full album to me. This is demos for all of what would go on to be Rid of Me. Which is a great album. There might also be a couple songs that did not make it to Rid of Me. There are a couple of these I don't remember. I think these might be exclusive to this. It's just exactly what it says on the tin. 4-track demos. It's like the Mi Wagyu reprise that I talked about. It's just Polly Jean with a guitar or two and her voice and a tape recorder. And it's really lo-fi. It's really interesting to listen to. And it's definitely influenced my production in the way that I want a lot of my music to sound more lo-fi and minimalist. This is lo-fi and minimalist, like, at its peak. Next is another one I just think is cool. It's Pharmacon's Bestial Burden album. I found this at a place called Past Chapters. They have a whole music physical media store within it. They started out as a mid-century modern furniture store mostly. However, their physical media section was the biggest hit, so they have started Lackluster Video as a little room in there where they have a bunch of DVDs and video games, and then Spin-Off Records, where they have a giant room of records and CDs. And I follow them on Instagram, and they post very frequently what new stuff they get in. And this was one of them. And I drove to the store a half hour after it opened just so I could get this. Because for a long time, I was working on a concept album about my fucked up relationship with my body due to chronic illness and gender dysphoria and, you know, plenty of other factors I don't want to get into. And then I listened to this album. Then I found this album. It's a, like, noise, dark ambient, harsh noise album. I was so mad because so much of it was giving the exact sensations that I wanted to figure out how to communicate so much better. This thing is so raw. A lot of it sounds disgusting, and I love it. And look how cool this cover is. And Bestial Burden is just the perfect name for something like that. And once again, like, beautiful art. Beautiful fucking collage art. And I just couldn't be happier that I get to own this. I got to see Pharmacon live, and she's so fucking good. I also have My Chemical Romance's Life on the Murder Scene, which has 2 DVDs and a CD. The CD is live performances and 2 demos and an unreleased song. So it's got live performances from their 3 Cheers for Sweet Revenge era. Then the demo for I Never Told You What I Do for a Living. The demo for an unreleased song called Bury Me in Black, which is one of their best songs. And the fully finished track, Desert Song, which didn't end up making the album. Which is honestly a tragedy, because Desert Song is heartbreaking and it's beautiful. But this also has a documentary on the band. It has a video diary detailing their childhoods through their formation as a band, and Bullets, and then 3 Cheers, and then the very, very beginnings of them starting to work on the Black Parade. And I love, love, love watching Life on the Murder Scene just over and over again. It's like a comfort movie for me, almost. And then DVD 2 is live performances of songs from both I Brought You My Bullets and 3 Cheers, as well as a couple TV performances, a live session they did for AOL, and the music videos and the behind the scenes for all of their 3 Cheers music videos. So this is like a holy grail in a way. And once again, it opens up. It's got a live action version of the Demolition Lovers. You get to see them. Then as it spreads out, these are both bits of art that were done for singles, or this was the CD tray for 3 Cheers, all recreated in live action. This one of them, Bloodless, is upside down. But it's just so cool to look at, like seeing Gerard Way's drawings, like, transformed into real-life images. There's something just beautiful about it. And then I have my signed copy of The Romance of Affliction by See You Space Cowboy. This was gifted to me by my friend Izzy. Izzy, if you're watching this, thank you forever. I love you. Izzy is the one who got me into See You Space Cowboy, one of my favorite screamo, metalcore, sasscore, whatever you want to call them, bands ever. And Izzy was seeing them live not long after they had gotten me into the band. And they asked me, you know, what's your favorite See You Space Cowboy album? And I said, Songs from the Firing Squad, their first album. And Izzy went, I'm sorry, they didn't have you that, but I got you a copy of Romance of Affliction, the album they're touring on, and I got it signed by the whole band. And this giant signature is Connie Scarbosa's, who Izzy said the band was giving her shit for signing her name so big. And she turned to the rest of her band and went, do you know who I am? Which I just think is really funny. And it's a great album. It's really grown on me. Now it's very possible that that is my favorite See You Space Cowboy album. And that CD, and that just act of kindness from a friend, and that little anecdote is so important to why it's so far up there now. And then I have another signed See You Space Cowboy CD. This is my other one. It's Coup de Grace, their last album. This one is signed by only Connie. I saw them at the Canal Club on the tour for this with Omerta and the Callous Boys and one other band that I'm forgetting, opening for them, introduced me to the Callous Cowboys, who are incredible. And See You Space Cowboy put on a great performance that I remember about half of because I was really fucked up on an edible. I bought a hat that says I Heart Cowboy. I went with my now girlfriend. Great show. I look up to Connie Scarbosa a lot. So really just seeing her in person and seeing the way she performs was magical. And it was a great fucking night, and they'll be missed. I liked the more kind of pop metalcore direction they were going in, which I typically don't fuck with, but See You Space Cowboy did it with just so much fun and so much style that I couldn't help but fall in love with it. And finally, the last CD is War All the Time by Thursday, who are one of, if not my favorite band. Once again, beautiful fucking art. I'm talking gorgeous fucking art. I have this design on a hoodie that I bought when I saw them on the 20th anniversary tour for this, where they played it in its entirety. Now, as many other people have been, I was in a Discord server for My Chemical Romance fans when I was in middle school. And, you know, a lot of it was like adults. I was one of the youngest members. Thankfully nothing sketchy happened, to me at least. I don't know. I haven't kept track. But a lot of people mentioned Thursday because they're important to My Chemical Romance lore. The singer, Jeff Rickley, produced I Brought You My Bullets and did like a vocal feature on the song This Is the Best Day Ever. And then had Gerard do guest vocals on their song Jet Black New Year, which was actually planned to be on this, but they were trying to get out of their Victory Records contract, so they put out an EP just to fulfill an obligation so they could get out. And so Jet Black New Year ended up going on that, along with just 4 live versions of full collapse tracks. Which sucks a little, because Jet Black New Year on this would have probably fucking killed me, honestly. Like, considering Tomorrow I'll Be You, as Jeff has said, is like a sequel in a way to it. The idea of having Steps Ascending, going into War All the Time, going into M. Shepherd, into Jet Black New Year, into Tomorrow I'll Be You, would be a run of 5 of the best songs ever written, but also 5 songs to destroy me emotionally. And the thing is, I went to Plan 9 one day. This is before I could even drive. My dad drove me to Plan 9. I was digging through the used CDs, and I found this, and I went, huh, a lot of my friends keep mentioning this band, Thursday. It's $3. I should check it out. I should see what I think. And I listened to it, and I was texting my friend Isaac, who was one of the ones who was more into Thursday, who like had a Thursday URL and stuff. And I was like, wow, this is pretty good. I like this. This is interesting. And then I kind of forgot that the album existed. It kind of just rotted in my giant bin of CDs. And then a couple years later, when I was in high school, maybe even starting, or probably during my gap year, I revisited Thursday, and it just clicked, and they just changed for me. And War All the Time is my favorite of all of their albums. This is such a beautiful album. I'd say this and Repetition by Unwound are the two best post-hardcore albums of all time. I'll also put Relationship of Command by At the Drive-In up there. So those are the three post-hardcore albums of all time. 10 out of 10 albums. War All the Time still, though, out of all of them, probably my favorite. Repetition is very close, but I don't have the sentimental attachment that I do to War All the Time. Which I'm still so glad that I got to see live. Like, you never think you're gonna see, like, Asleep in the Chapel, or, like, especially Emma Shepherd or Tomorrow I'll Be You. Like, those are deep cuts. Seeing them live and screaming them with other people after I had been going through this just, like, really intense depression was one of the most important things ever. And that's my CD collection. We got the local acts and all of the singles and EPs and the 3 soundtracks that are really easy to hold up, and then my beautiful miscellaneous CDs. So if you watched all 36, probably 37 minutes of this, thank you. I hope you enjoyed. And the ones I said were my favorites will be on the test. So if you took a nap, you're failing my class. And I'm disappointed in you. Unless you watched the whole thing and paid attention, in which case, I love you. Thank you for watching.